The Spanish announce table.
Tom, another week gone by. From what I recall, you telling me you didn't do much, huh?
Yeah, so let me think. Went to the Chiefs game.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, the Chiefs game.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a good game. They played the last place Cardinals, so that was what it was. Chiefs won. Good victory.
Could have played better, to be honest.
Yeah, but sometimes you're a little flat, and if you're playing the last place team, that's okay.
That's what you do.
You'll get the victory. Let me think. What else? Oh, I got engaged. I put a ring on it.
Oh,
I got down on one knee. She said yes. Whoa. I know, right? Yeah, man.
Hey, that is amazing. We might
lady,
be able.
I am off the market.
We might be able, if there's any Spanish announce table historians, we might be able to find a time on this podcast where T-Mac said he's never getting married.
Yeah, I probably have said that.
I mean, meant it more than he's probably ever meant anything on this show.
Yeah, I've probably said that.
Yeah.
Red face now that I am. I've probably said that. But you know what? When you fall in love, Tim, you fall in love.
My wife, when I would tell her that you said this, and I would tell her, I'd be like, I kind of believe him. And she would say, it just takes finding the one. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, whatever. But I tell you what, I have put this girl through it all, right? All the outbursts, all the rants, all of the I could do it betters, all the I should be better, all the I'm doing great, all the ups and downs, highs and lows. And I love her.
Yeah, well, that's good for you. That's good. It's terrible for her, but
hey, she said yes though.
You.
And I will say this caveat: she said yes, comma, only because Joe asked. So Josephine, the Wonder Dog. This is the way I did it for those of you who are not friends with me on the Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. This is how we did it. I had her parents help me and our dog. Here goes the story.
Okay.
So it was a Saturday morning, and that night we were going to have a dinner at her parents' house because her brother came in town, her niece and nephew, who are twins. We were going to celebrate their birthday, also kind of do a Thanksgiving because the brother and sister-in-law are going to be spending their Thanksgiving with the sister-in-law's family. So we decided to do the birthday parties and Thanksgiving kind of all in one day, right? So the night before we made the cakes, or I should say Emily made the cakes and I made sure that Josephine didn't eat them while they were being made. And in the morning on Saturday, we needed to buy them gifts, right? The twins. So I said, hey, let's enjoy our coffee in the morning, kind of rest and relax because we got a big night ahead of us. So let's just kind of be a little bit even keel, and just enjoy our time. And then we'll go get the gifts. She said, perfect. Sounds great. So while we're just enjoying our time, I'm texting her parents saying, hey, we're going to go get gifts. When we go get gifts, you come up. Get the dog. There's a t-shirt that was made for the dog. Put the t-shirt on Josephine. Meet us at the dog park. Game plan, right? And they're like, cool. And now let me back up a little bit. We had planned this for about 3 weeks. So it wasn't as if I just texted her parents out of the blue and said, jump.
Hey,
they said how hot.
Right.
There was some planning going into it. But I'm just giving you the condensed Saturday version of it. So
sure.
We go out, we go to a store, we pick up 2 of the gifts that we were going to get the kids. Everything's going great. Then we go to the library. I had a book that I returned. I'm still texting her parents without Emily knowing. I had to buy some time because there was just a little bit of traffic. So I ended up checking out a book that I had no desire to read. But hey, if you got to buy some time, check out a book, right?
Yeah.
So I checked out the book. Then I got some lunch with Emily, obviously, and she was there the entire time. So after we got lunch, I was like, hey, I need to air up my tire. And luckily, the indicator for airing up your tire was on. So I was like, perfect. And I was like, I got to air up the tire. I was like, but I don't want to go I don't want to go to the gas station that's close to us because it's such a cluster. There's construction right now going on, which is true. I just want to go somewhere else. She said, fine, whatever. She's not really paying attention. Later, I would find out she said I was acting weird all day. I don't buy that. I think she's trying to save face, whatever.
Well, she was probably right, but you were probably acting very normal. But you were still acting very weird. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yes. My weird is my normal.
Yeah.
That's
if you thought back to any day of Tom's, you can go, man, he was acting kind of weird that day.
But then if you take the full body of work, you go, that's pretty normal.
He acts weird every day, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing that I think I really messed up on that I did not take into account is from the library / lunch that was kind of in the same strip mall area. From there to the dog park was another gas station, and I did not account for it. So as we were driving, we're going, and we come up on the gas station. She goes, hey, why don't you just go right there? And I was like, oh, I'm in the left lane. It would be cutting people off to make that right turn. We'll go to another one. And then she was like, that seems weird. I was like, shit, she knows. Like, she knows something is up. So I'm just going, I'm driving. Then I make the turn to go into the dog park, and she sees her parents' car. She sees her parents out walking around with Joe, and she's like, why does Joe have a shirt on? I was like, I don't know, let's try to figure it out. And then she starts kind of like getting emotional. So she knows, right? Like,
right, she's figured out what's up.
Yeah,
right.
it's game time.
Right.
But we still have to do it, right? So now it's like I've kind of gone like kind of blurred vision. It was all kind of weird and like, oh, I'm really going to do this. I got a little lightheaded, but I was still trying to keep it together. And so we walk up, we go into, I park the car, we walk into the dog park. Josephine, who every single time in Josephine's life has always ran straight to Emily. And I was counting on her running straight to Emily. This is the one time where she's like, hey, there's some other dogs. I think I'm going to play with them. And I'm like, Joe,
stop doing that, right?
Joe, stop being a dog and come here. And it wasn't like that long, but it wasn't a seamless walk into the dog park. Joe comes up, right? So anyhow, Joe then comes up, and it wasn't long. It was maybe 5-7 seconds. And then Emily walked kind of in front of me to greet Joe. I took a step back. She reads the shirt. It says, will you marry Thomas? On the other side of the shirt is a ring. She turns around. Yada, yada, yada. And then she goes, yes, only because Josephine asked, which made me giggle. Then we hugged, and then her parents were there, and she thought that was really special. She said I hit a home run. So there you go. I'm engaged, ladies. Sorry. Hands off the merchandise.
Yeah, the daily requests for contact information from the thousands of lady fans. You're just gonna have to
stop now, ladies.
It's gotta stop. Yeah,
stop now. I am a taken man. So, countdown 472 days. Wedding date February 29th.
You gave her that long to figure out the mistake she made?
Hey,
that's bold. That's a risk. That's a risky move.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The future is made. The future is made by the bold, Tim.
Right. Okay? Yeah. No, this is good stuff, though, man. This is good. You're in a good relationship. You're making positive decisions in life. You're gonna bond together with this wonderful woman who's had so many positive influences on you. And this is good.
Yeah, we'll see. So February 29th, Leap Day 2020. 472 days as of this recording on November 14th, 2018. That is when it goes down. Year of the new idea. So then new idea
was let's get married.
Let's get married. Why not? Yeah. See what that's like.
I like that.
2019 we prepare. 2020 we get into the wedding time. So that was the major news. But I did go to the Chiefs game. That isn't a lie. I did go to the Chiefs game.
Yep. How was that?
Her. It was fun.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that, I guess.
And her brothers and sister-in-laws. Mm-hmm. So it was a good little time away from their kids, their parents, all that kind of stuff. Have some adult fun time. Drink a beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or two.
It was fine. It was fun. And then Monday, I went to Monday Night Raw, which will then lead us into our more general conversation. Did you watch Raw and SmackDown? And if you did, what did you think?
I did watch Raw and SmackDown. I thought SmackDown did a much better job of entertaining me this week. That's for sure. And we can, dig into finer details of it. But you were able to go to it. We are in kind of an agreement, I think, that Raw was dull. And
very dull.
I feel like that's made worse when you're at the arena even,
Definitely. And here's the other thing that made me hypersensitive to the event is I went with her brother-in-law. So he was like, hey, are you going to Monday Night Raw? And I honestly told him, I was like, I wasn't planning on it. He goes, well, I was thinking about going, but I don't know anything about wrestling. And I was like, well, if you need like someone to tell you what's going on, like I'll go with you,
Right.
He's like, okay, that'd be cool. Like, could you get tickets? I was like, sure. So I bought the tickets. They weren't like the front row seat, but they were good seats, right? Like we were able to see the action without using binoculars. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the hardest part was, he was asking very like, so do you know the matches that are going to happen tonight? And I was like, well, so I know some things, but like there could be just new matches that I've never heard of. He's like, well, then what would happen then? And I was like, so I was explaining everything. He's like, so like, what's that title mean? Why is the Intercontinental title like second title and Universal titles like the big title, but Intercontinental title has been around longer than that title? I was like, so here's the hierarchy. And then he's like, this Braun Strowman. He loved Braun Strowman. He was like, this Braun Strowman guy, like he seems pretty cool. I was like, he's awesome when they want him to be awesome. I was like, I love him. And then so here was his game notes, as you could say, for Monday Night Raw. First off, he laughed till he was in tears that Dean Ambrose would be sitting on a Pontiac Grand Am, a car, which he is a car guy, that he said it's not even made anymore.
Yeah, they don't even make it.
And here he is sitting on top of it outside of the arena in Kansas City, which is so weird because where would you find that car? Why would you drive it in? Why would you use it in this bit? He was almost in tears laughing about how stupid that was, right? So that was like, but okay, so he's a lunatic, which means like he kind of, walks to the beat of his own drum. And he's like, no, that's stupid. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty dumb. And so that was his one like big takeaway. He laughed really hard. Second was Braun Strowman's huge. Man, I bet that guy could really throw some people around. I like him. And I was like, yeah, he's awesome. He even got one of those Funko Pop Braun Strowman action figures for his desk at work. He really liked Braun Strowman.
Nice.
Third, and it really dawned on me because it was an outsider's perspective onto the show, but he goes, there is a ton of women in this episode. I go, it's been a trend that's been growing in the last 6 months to a year. He goes, I remember back in the day when it was Stone Cold and Kurt Angle. He remembered who Kurt Angle was and The Rock, He goes, I do not remember women, and the women that I do remember were not being portrayed like this. I was like, yeah, right? It's come a long way. He's like, yeah, no, it's great. Just a lot of women. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And then his fourth takeaway, and this is a takeaway that if you're at the show, I think everyone is in agreement of, is you have wrestler A walk out, then you have wrestler B walk out. They're in the ring. We're supposed to suspend our disbelief and say that these two people are wanting to fight each other, right?
Right.
So especially with like the one part where he really got like this is stupid or irritated about was when Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler started their match. So Drew McIntyre headbutt Finn, right? And then Dolph was like, all right, we'll have the match. But then, Drew McIntyre headbutt Finn. And then they went to commercial, which means in the arena, the lights went dark. There's like, buy WWE Network or go look at Tribute of the Troops, all this stuff. And Emily's brother-in-law was like, wouldn't they be fighting right now?
Yeah,
why are they standing there watching the screen? And I was like, well, I mean, they should be fighting, but like it's a commercial break. He goes, so? He said, he goes, we're here. They should be fighting because we're here. And I was like, I know, but I don't make the show. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty stupid. But that would also happen when I think it was Bayley took on Sasha. They both walk to the ring. Now they're friends, but still, they both walk to the ring. They do their little strut fun dance, and then dark. And it's a pat on the back about how great WWE is. Look at all the stars that's been here. Look at Tribute to the Troops. Look at Evolution. Look at the network. And it's just 2 minutes of the people that we want to be wrestling just standing there with their thumb in their ass. Right. It was I know. Yeah. And, we've talked about this, I think, in the past, but that pacing when you're there is miserable. It is
it's bad. I almost kind of like going to the live show sometimes. I only want to go if I've got friends that I know, like, you know what I mean? We can entertain ourselves during those down moments. Like, I couldn't go with
a pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, pay-per-view, right. But yeah, the Raw,
it's too long. And yeah, it's just, okay, we're ready. We're going to do this match. Okay, great. Here, commercial break. What? Yeah, it's a commercial break.
Right.
Okay, so what does that mean for us? The lights are going to go off. Okay, but I still want to watch this wrestling. Not yet. But I could watch this wrestling.
Wait.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, right.
So why aren't they wrestling? It's a commercial break. But they could still be wrestling right now. Yes. Why aren't they wrestling? It's a commercial break. God damn it. It's just this cycle of it doesn't make sense. That was hard. The other thing, and this was specific to the show, is if you're a real fan, we're the real fans, the people listening to the show are real fans.
Mm-hmm.
So Finn does his cool jump to the outside and gets the victory. We popped for that, right?
Right.
Other than that, though, I mean, they kind of forced our hand with us sitting on our hands the entire time. The Bobby Lashley Elias thing was kind of cool, especially with, if you're a fan of Elias, when he's talking on the phone, he goes, yes, I am Elias, how he does when he's playing his song.
Right.
But the Bobby Lashley, what's your favorite pose? And he just shows his ass. I mean, it's a good heel move, but it doesn't necessarily make us boo or cheer. It just kind of makes you go, well, yeah, okay. And so that was a miss. For me personally, now I'll go into my personal thoughts on Raw after this. Please feel free to share yours, Tim. But okay, Nia Jax had 3 fucking segments on the show.
Yeah.
And Nia Jax is dull. And you know who's worse than Nia Jax as far as being dull and not entertaining? Tamina. And she also had 3 segments. And it just, the first one I get, right? We have to do the continuation. Hey, we're going to keep moving forward with the Nia Jax heel turn. So last week it was Nia Jax and Ember Moon. Now Ember Moon wants her revenge on Tamina. Okay, that makes sense from a wrestling, storyline perspective. We get the match. Tamina wins, which then just ends that feud, I guess, which is stupid. And there's their one segment. Okay, I can live with that, right? Sure. Ronda then does an interview segment, and they come out at the end of that interview segment good luck, champ, and it was super awkward and clunky and nothing felt believable about it. That's your second one. Okay, let's hope that that's the last time I see her. And then in the main event, Alexa Bliss is and then these 2 girls are on my team. And what? Meanwhile, your new tag team champions. Let's push them to the moon. AOP. Hey, they can't talk. All right, well, they got Drake Maverick. The best real functional classic tag team that WWE has on Raw, and we don't see them.
All right.
Meanwhile, we see Heath Slater and Rhino twice. We see the Revival twice. We see Bobby Roode and Chad Gable twice. But not our tag team champions.
Yeah.
What?
Right. Because it's just, it's all about pushing whatever narrative they think is going to push whatever angle they're working for. They've stopped caring about the actual televised products. I don't even know, like, quality for as far as like I don't even know, as far as like a television show. It's a 3-hour commercial. And they're trying, they're trying to push the Nia Jax thing for all the various other things they have her representing the company for. They're trying to, push Braun because, he's the hit in the merch sales. Like, it's a walking commercial anymore. It just feels like it's, yeah.
Well, and then, let's go into just dissecting a little bit of how they started the show, right? So they started the show with a tag team battle royal. The winner would be the captain of Team Raw tag team versus the Team Smackdown tag team at Survivor Series. Okay, right. I can kind of believe that. And Braun Strowman is a pissed off monster, and he doesn't want the show to continue until he lets these hands off on Braun Strowman, on Baron Corbin. And I get that. All right, and I even get, well, Braun Strowman screwed that up. We still need to clarify who the captain is on this team. So let's, run that match back. I still even get that to a certain extent, right? Like, they didn't get their chance. Sure. They deserve their chance. Let's do it again. It's a 3-hour show. Battle Royals are always fun. The first one ended fun because Braun Strowman's just fun to watch. So maybe the second one's also going to be fun because Battle Royals can be fun, right?
Battle Royals, right. They can. They've got so many opportunities for fun little spots in one of those.
And it was. I thought it was enjoyable. I didn't think, it was a miss. I also don't think it was a home run. It was a solid single. But here's the dumbest fucking part about it. So Chad Gable and Bobby Roode are your team captain for the Raw tag team match, right?
Right.
They don't pick anyone. Everyone that was in the match is also in the Survivor Series match. Right. What does a team captain then do?
Yeah, what
so you
do
just
you do?
Did nothing. Yeah. I would get it if it was Chad Gable and Bobby Roode win, and then they have Charlie Caruso go into the ring and says, who do you want on your team? And they say, well, the last team that we eliminated was Heath Slater and Rhino or whoever it was. They're on the team. But it was just... No. Everyone that was in that match, they're also going to be in the Survivor Series match. And a team captain really doesn't do anything because the team is already picked. I guess they'll just have that honorary distinction on a match that I think is on the kickoff show. So fucking great. We just wasted 2 segments to do nothing.
Yeah,
man.
Pretty much nothing. Yeah, yeah. I don't even know a good thing to say about it. It's a very regular occurrence when I watch that show. Like, sometimes they sprinkle in a few good things that make me go, oh. Like, recently I felt like, hey man, the writing's been really good, but then it feels like for a while they'll always default back to this, it's stall mode, right? It's just, I don't know.
There was a great sign at Raw where, and I think it even made TV, but it said, I feel like you're not even trying, and it had 2 frown faces on each side. Mm-hmm. And that's like, I feel like they try for one thing, and then everything else is, we don't have enough time to write this. We're booked to the max. We either need more writers or less TV time. Something needs to happen because we have one shot at one thing, and everything else is on stall mode.
Yeah,
and that's what I felt like everything was. The Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins thing, I guess I understand to a certain extent, right? You need to push the narrative of Seth Rollins is broken up because Dean Ambrose burned the gear of the Shield. Okay, but did we need that whole 7-minute segment? And if I'm going to Monday Night Raw, not that he has to wrestle every single time, but I want Seth Rollins to do a little bit more than just walk off upset, right?
Right, yeah.
I want to see a curb stomp.
Yeah.
But I got nothing. And I get it, right? You need to tell a different story each week because, like you said, during the Attitude Era, Stone Cold was just stunning people just because, well, fuck it, right? Like, we all want to see it.
Right.
And I don't want to get to that point with anyone, but sometimes I want to see a little action from the top guys, especially a top guy like Seth Rollins. So that was disappointing. But now let's get into a positive. The main event, right? Mm-hmm. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. First off, low-key, love the move that Alexa Bliss did, right? Here's my 4 girls, even though 2 of them I fucking can't stand, but whatever. here's my 4 girls. For the 5th and final spot, you got to want it, even beating your friend. And she makes Sasha and Bailey fight each other. They don't have that tension that they did have, but it's still friends fighting, right?
Sure.
And they're fighting tooth and nail. It was a fun match. Another thing that Emily's brother popped for was when Sasha Banks jumps off the top rope and those double knees to the chest or face area of Bailey.
Oh,
He was like,
right.
that was a cool move. And it is, right? So anyhow, and then they're fighting tooth and nail, and I think it was Sasha that had Bailey in a submission, and then they just beat him up and go like, well, actually, neither one of you are on the team.
Right.
It's going to be Ruby Riott.
Yeah.
Like, that's low-key an awesome moment.
That is the fun part, yeah.
Yeah. That was – now, she could have done it a little bit more, I thought, like rubbed it in a little bit more. But I understand with timing, and now that they have to end right at 10 and they can't do the 10:15 thing, like maybe she was like, whoa, I don't know exactly how much time this next thing is going to take, so I'm just going to rush through this. But low-key, I thought that was really cool, right? Like, hey, you two, fight for this final spot. And by the time you're dead, neither one will get it. Ha ha
Right,
ha.
yeah.
Like, that's
It'd be
great.
like you two fight for the right to see who's going to face me at WrestleMania. And then they fight, and he doesn't be like, yeah, I was just kidding. I'm not giving you guys a title shot, nerds.
Right. Like, yeah, nerds. I thought that was perfect.
Right.
So low key, I thought that was great. And then, I mean, the queen, right?
Yeah. God.
Becky Lynch she can do no wrong in my book. And,
She could have ate a baby in the crowd, and the crowd would have cheered.
Oh, yeah. If she would have punted a child in the face as she walked up the stairs with her bloody Irish
on purpose,
Irish war paint, we still would have been like, well, fuck that kid.
Yeah, that
he was
kid
wearing
was
a
in the way.
Charlotte shirt. Yeah.
He was stupid. Look at his face.
Yeah. So in this Monday Night Raw, you had Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Seth Rollins, an appearance by Dean Ambrose, Finn Balor, Sasha Banks, Bailey, all of these people, and the loudest response. It wasn't even close. If you were to rank the 3 loudest responses for Monday Night Raw, it would be Becky Lynch in the back, Becky Lynch walking up to the ring, and Becky Lynch walking away from the ring.
Right.
Those were the 3 loudest reactions in the arena. I was there. I can tell you. She was awesome. I love the armbar. Credit to Ronda Rousey for really selling that. Like, she didn't just go like, she was really selling it. Kudos to her. Thought that was really good. And then when Becky Lynch walks in and she's talking her trash, and I think I saw her mouth, I main event my show, and now I'm walking in main eventing yours. Like, that was fucking cool. And then the girls all jumper. Low key, I'm not the hugest fan of Charlotte helping in that. I think you could have picked another female to help with beating down the Raw women, especially when you say Charlotte and Becky hate each other so much, right? And we can get into SmackDown here in a second. But wow, that kind of was like, really? Wait a minute, what's she doing? And then sloppy, unsafe, dull Nia Jax punches for I don't know what reason. It seemed like as hard as she could, because Nia Jax even posted a picture of her hand, which you have to punch someone really fucking hard to make your knuckle bust. Just explodes Becky Lynch's face.
It's also maybe an incident of her not knowing how much force is behind that you know what I mean, that swinging punch she's got. Because I mean, Jesus, Becky Lynch is tough. And you know what I mean? Got rolled on that one. I mean, you see her face.
She kept going.
Like the next time,
she
like,
kept going. One thing that was
they said she had a broken face, man. I mean, like,
it was a broken nose, a severe concussion. I think, probably some.
They said broken face on SmackDown.
His face was broken. Injury. Yeah. It's one of those moments where now we're recording on a Wednesday night, and at the time that it happened, I saw that her face was bloody, and I was just like, oh, shit, something bad happened there, right? And then everything continues. She hits Ronda with the chair, and then they leave, and they walked on the opposite side of the arena that I was on. so I didn't necessarily get an up close look at Becky, but it was still kind of cool. But I kind of just left going like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. But it was a fun ending to the show, right? And
yeah.
Emily's brother was like, yeah, that was cool. But now on a Wednesday, with especially the tweets and the gifts and the artwork and all that, it feels like I saw something special. It feels like in the career of Becky Lynch, this is going to be a pivotal moment where we said, okay, she was doing the puns and the quinoa funny haha stuff. Then she did her heel turn, which was pretty cool. We all got behind it. But now this bloody face thing, I don't know, maybe we're going to get sympathy on her, which then makes her a true baby face. We already are cheering her, so, you got us there. I feel like this is going to be a moment where we look back, 2 to 3 years from now and say, when Becky Lynch took off in Kansas City on Raw, when she attacked the Raw roster and Nia Jax exploded her face and she continued to work through it and owned the entire segment. And so now it feels special that I was there. Now I'm like, yeah, I was there in the arena. I was there when Becky, fought through the pain or whatever we're going to say about that moment. At the time, though, I felt like, ooh, that was kind of crazy, but it was fun. Now I'm like, that was an iconic Monday Night Raw moment. I don't know. It just awesome.
No, I agree. I think that was huge, and I like that they're smart at still having her come out like she did on SmackDown, and we can kind of start rolling into that. But this couldn't have happened at a worse time, obviously, because everything was on fire. So they've got to still kind of maintain that, right? They've still got to have her somehow involved, and hopefully they think this one isn't going to last, too long. She can kind of get back into things. I don't know.
Yeah, and we say that it kind of happened at the worst time because Survivor Series, I believe that was going to be the main event of the pay-per-view, right? And that's a huge feather in the cap for Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, and by and large part women's wrestling. But maybe this is the best thing to happen because we kind of all smarky said like, well, the main event will probably be Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte, and we're going to get a match where we might not like either girl. Well, as of after Survivor Series, they haven't announced a superstar shakeup. So you're going to go forward into potentially Royal Rumble, and all of those supplement WWE pay-per-views with Becky Lynch still on SmackDown, Ronda Rousey still on Raw. Somehow maybe Ronda goes to SmackDown, Becky goes to Raw, most likely if anyone switches. And then we could have at WrestleMania this payoff in which, just like I said, I feel like that was an iconic moment for Becky Lynch's career, and it's tied to Ronda Rousey. And we could get this payoff at WrestleMania, and now it's something where we're like, well,
True.
We're behind one of these girls for sure. Now, they could do awesome storytelling and make us feel for Ronda Rousey and we're sympathetic or however we are, babyface Ronda. Or we're just 100% behind Becky, which I think will be the case. But I think now, potentially, if it's played right, which, cross your fingers, you never know with WWE, but we could be in for a better forced main event because they're going to do it regardless. Like you said, like their narrative is we're doing this, you go along for the ride or jump off the ride because we're making tons of money. But hopefully for the wrestling fans' sake, we get a Becky Ronda match where it's on fire and we love it.
Yeah, it's because she is just on fire. We've said it, like she could do nothing. She could wipe a booger on Corey Graves when she walks by, and we'd be like, "Yeah, fuck him," you know what I mean? Like we just
she
wouldn't
could
even
go trip a Connor's Cure kid, and we'd be like, "Yeah, who cares? Who cares
yeah,
about that
I hate
kid?"
those segments, right? You'd just be like, right?
She is just killing it. And go ahead.
Well, I kind of I get. Let me read a tweet the table here, right? At B_double_D says, by the way, use hashtag tweet the table on Twitter and we'll read some of them on the show like this with at B_double_D. He says, I get having to replace Becky. I even get it being Charlotte. What I don't get is the big bro hug all of a sudden. Hashtag tweet the table. And that I don't get either, right? I get the idea of, I loved how they played it. They said, all right, she's going to pick her hand-chosen person to face her. She goes, I'm going to pick somebody I know can get it done. And of course, right, you go to Charlotte then, right? But you still have her be like, I don't want to do this, right? Like, be like, I don't like you. I still hate you, right? And I still think you try to steal spotlight, but we know you're better than these chumps, yeah? Right? Like, you know what I mean? And Charlotte could just be like, yeah? You know what I mean? Like, yeah? Right? And she'll be like, all right, do it. You know what I mean? Like a reluctant, like, you know? Like, and you still then pull off the, you know, the I don't know. It's not heat. It's not heat Becky's getting, but you still pull off the character there.
Yeah. I honestly think watching it when it happened, I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
I think the handshake was going to be, you know, if you saw the script, it probably said end with handshake. I think because, you know, breaking kayfabe here, Becky Lynch and Charlotte are best friends, you know, sure. and we know that, right? Like, we understand that was a storyline, and storyline is a storyline. In real life, Becky Lynch and shocker, spoiler. But Becky Lynch and Charlotte are best friends, and I think that was just a genuine, like.
Are you telling me there's not an undead wizard who comes back once a year to beat people up?
More than once a year lately.
And he can't die?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
You're telling me that's not a real thing?
His name is Mark. Sorry.
Shut the fuck.
So
what are we doing then? Why are we doing this show?
You know, a lot of people ask that question.
Even Mark.
But I think that was a genuine moment that they just broke down, and it reminded me very similar of when Sasha Banks and Bayley had that iconic match in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. You know, leading into it, it was all this fire and fury and blah, blah, blah. But as soon as Bayley pinned Sasha, they're hugging and crying and then posing with the 4 and all that bullshit. And you're like, wait a minute, what? Didn't you guys just hate each other 9 minutes ago? You know, I think that was one of the moments where Becky was like, I really want you to do well. And Charlotte's like, I'm going to try my best. This is a big moment for me. Because it still could main event Survivor Series, right? They could still say like, nope, Ronda's main eventing. We don't care who the other person is. It's Ronda's main event, right? Maybe they know that, and, you know, they got a little emotional. So I'm not holding that too much against them, because sometimes genuine emotions come out. And guess what? In wrestling, you don't get to take 2 all the time. Sure. Right?
Right.
So I'm going to let that, I'm going to let that one slide, assuming they don't go into it more next week and be like, the bond that Becky and Charlotte created on that Tuesday night where Charlotte took over for Becky, blah, 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 right? As long as they don't do anything like that, I'll just be like, hey, a genuine moment happened, whatever for them. I'll do my best to ignore it. My favorite part of that, though, was then when the rest of the roster is hugging Charlotte, like, beat Ronda for us. The Iconics just no-sell it and kind of just, like, pat her, just like, yay. Yeah. I love the Iconics.
Yeah, they're great.
Like, if you were to rank, you know, if I were to rank my favorite things in wrestling, I, like everyone else, and I still really can't explain it to Emily's brothers of the world, why she's just so fucking awesome. But, like, number one is Becky, right? Like, I liked her once she did the heel turn. And everything about her is awesome. It's just this charisma. But anyhow, I'm putting her number 1. But up in my top 5, top 10 list are the Iconics. They just kill it every single time. And that little moment where they're like, well, we're not going to join in this hug because we really thought it should have been us, but yay. I thought that was perfect. Like, oh, they did great. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. No, they were wonderful. And so we kicked it off with that whole what started, you know, the big event of the night. But, you know, AJ Styles is out there cutting his usual promo and then gets interrupted with Paul Heyman. And then, you know, they bring up Daniel Bryan's name. And then this is where we get Daniel Bryan coming in like, hey, keep my name out.
Yeah, why are you guys talking about me? Yeah.
Don't say my name.
First off, why are you talking about me? Second off, why, AJ, are you talking about how you tapped me out? Because, you know, I don't like that shit. And then third, if you're going to say my name, I'm going to punch you. I thought it was great. Yeah.
One I like, too. He's like, so you're telling me if somebody asked me, right? Like, that was a fun line, too. And then I like how Daniel Bryan's like, all right, well, all right. You know, we got to punch you now. Like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, if you're gonna force my hand, I have to do it. I'm not gonna bitch out now.
And then, you know, so Shane, another thing that hit me was Shane's like, all right, forget it, right? We're gonna make a title match tonight instead. You know what I mean? Like, let's settle this, right? Well, that's cool, right? But okay, so I'm under the impression here, if I'm watching the show, you had a show planned, right? And now you've changed that, right? But you still had time for a Jeff Hardy match next, so I don't understand what you cut to make time for this if the Jeff Hardy match still made the
Can we just, like, I get, right, the nostalgic factor. There are kids, or I should say, excuse me, adults in their early 30s, late 20s that were teens or, you know, in the 10 to 13 age range when Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy were the coolest fucking things, blah, 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 bright lights and all that. And so now they're watching now, and that's still something fun for them. I get it. I'm not opposed to it. I get it. But man, can that just be saved for, like, you know, for example, when I went to Monday Night Raw, they did main event, right? Mm-hmm. They did main event. The matches were stupid, by the way. Again, no AOP, but I got a tag team of Apollo Crews and Zack Ryder versus Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Breeze, I think, right? Like, what the fuck?
Man, what does main event do? What are they doing? Do people watch this? Are they selling advertising? Like, what?
I think it's just to get the
purpose?
I think it's to get the crowd ready, right? Like, they did some fun high spots, and that gets the crowd to clap.
All
and then
main
when you start
event
Raw
has ever been, and the one they had before, whatever that one was for a while. What do they call it? What are they before they started doing the 205 Live thing? But
Superstars.
They started putting their dark matches on TV, right? I get that, but who is now at home watching the dark matches? Why? What does it do for it? Doesn't advance any storylines. The wrestling is usually subpar. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's for a larger conversation, but you know, they still do it. And my point is, let's put Jeff Hardy. Let's put, you know.
I might maybe check out some main event. Jeff Hardy's on there against, you know, if it was
Ty Dillinger.
If you've got all these people, put them, make it a different promotion of its own. You know what I mean? Like, it just make it a thing, right? Like, if the promotion was, you know, it had Jeff Hardy in it, and it had Ty Dillinger, and it had the Ascension, and, you know, they had their own storyline separate from everything else. It got its own TV time just on the network. If I'm bored, I might check some of that out. You know what I mean? Like, at least it's something different and new, but this is all just filler. You want me to watch an entire show of filler? An entire show of filler?
Yeah.
An entire show of pre-show. Like, get out of here, man.
I agree. But to my point, I get, right? Jeff Hardy is still someone who draws eyeballs to something.
Oh, sure, right. Yeah. Well, in the Smackdown match, so you're getting Jeff Hardy, of course. Right. Why?
And that's what I'm saying. But, like, why? Sure. Like, we can do other things with people who are going to be hopefully on the roster for a longer period of time than Jeff Hardy. Let's try to develop those people on a show where everyone, you know, and I'm using air quotes here, everyone is watching.
Jeff Hardy might get bit by his lizard later and get some kind of weird rabies.
Jeff Hardy could get another DUI again.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but let's just say what it is. Like, you know, addicts still fuck up, and let's have some people who have the good behavior fucking keep going. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. And it's tired. He looks like it's hard for him to do this. It doesn't look enjoyable. It makes me sad. It's reminiscing. It's very similar to, in a couple weeks, Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz are going to fight for a third time. Their first fight was in 2004. It looks a lot like Jeff Hardy matches look a lot like Chuck Liddell hitting pads. Like, you remember there's something there, but it's not there anymore. And this makes me kind of depressed.
Yeah, sure. Like, you watch it and you go, yeah, man, Chuck Liddell could walk into any bar around here in Kansas City and probably beat up everybody in the room, but not in a UFC fight or whatever it is, right? A Bellator. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Now, if we're going to put him up against some of the better fighters in the world, like, why are we doing this, right? Like,
he couldn't even beat up.
You don't think so? Not even that, huh? Is he just that gone now, huh?
Oh, I mean, like, first off, he was never that skilled. He was never, a 10 out of 10 as far as athleticism.
Yeah, right.
That stuff.
Yeah, see, I don't know most of these. I know the names and I know they were MMA stars, but I don't know necessarily who was show and who was go,
Well, his peak was 12 years ago, so that just tell you anything in sports, right? If your peak was 12 years ago, I don't want to see Brett Favre throwing a football.
I think you're overestimating the average person walking around in Kansas City bars, man. You've seen some of these puny little I'm sure Chuck Liddell could still roast a bunch of people in the bars I've ever seen around here.
I don't know.
Dude,
it looked really bad.
There's some string beans and some tomato cans walking around.
When we take a break, I'll send you the 30-second clip of him hitting pads,
right,
and then
this is
we can revisit that.
Put it right here on the show, man.
Yeah. So anyhow, the Jeff Hardy thing. It just I don't know. Let's just get him off the TV, please. We can make that gimmick. And if you're wanting the merchandise and all that, put that thing, right, whatever that thing is, on just someone new. Put it on Fandango. Put it on a Tyler Breeze. You can make, it's not fucking hard. It's glitz and glamour, smoke and mirrors, and jump high.
Right.
Jump from high things.
Right. Dance and slap some hands.
Like literally, just have a backstage meeting. Go, who's not afraid of heights? And whoever fucking raises their hand first, like, you're going to be our new Jeff Hardy. What? Yeah, you're jumping off a fucking cage tonight. Okay. And then
can you grab somebody from 205 Live that'll do all the flips and shit and, dress them up in some funky colors?
Buddy Murphy, put paint on his fucking face and he can easily be your Jeff Hardy. It's not fucking difficult to recreate that.
Yeah, we can paint Buddy Murphy's eyeballs.
Yeah. Let's fucking do it here, guys.
I think I'm going to name this episode... We can paint Buddy Murphy's eyeballs.
I like it. All right, well, then what happened after that? Because Jeff Hardy beat Cien Almas, right, who was man, you want to talk about someone who misses NXT? How about that guy and Zelina?
Most of the people that have come up from NXT lately. After that, we got into the inklings of the Miz and Rey Mysterio match that would come later. I like how they led into that, though. Miz is like, well, look, if he's gone, you're out too. He was your pick. Or, you were his pick. If he's, we got to wash the stink off of this. Like, if he's gone, you're gone too. And then they're like, no, you know what?
You're going to have to fight him for it, which I like.
Beat him off. Right, yeah. You're going to have to beat him off, Miz. All right. So let's see, where else did we go in that show? Yeah, we still had time for a New Day versus The Bar and Big Show. That didn't get cut. I don't know what match did get cut to make room for this championship match later. But yeah, the New Day and The Bar and Big Show.
Why? Who is clamoring for that? Raise your hand.
How long before this is called the Big Bar and it's like a 3-man team? How long?
I mean, probably 30 minutes.
To next week, Survivor Series. They officially become the Big Bar.
A Big Bar. And maybe they fucking walk out with a big bar.
Yeah. Right.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. The Big Bar. Yeah. And then we got the match, man. The main event. New champion, Daniel Bryan, the heel turn, shocks the world. I told my wife, because she watches all the, the Total Divas and the Bellas and all that. And she was like, what? And I was like, yep, he turned heel. And she was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like, he's a bad guy. And she was like, no. And I was like, yeah, he turned bad guy, won the title. He kicked guy in the dick. I was like, eh? And I love. Let me back up. I have a lot of feelings. First off, share with me your feelings, and I'll go on my little tangent of how I thought the match should have gone, how it did, and my general thoughts. Just on the overall match, or what?
Yeah, what'd you think of the match? What'd you think about the outcome? What'd you think about the heel turn? What were your, as soon as it happened, what was your instant reaction?
I mean, I wouldn't say the match gave me any major things other than, the heel turn thing. I mean, I honestly didn't think they were necessarily going that route. I figured they were making this, I thought they were just going to play this out, right, where it was still two faces, but Daniel Bryan was playing more of the, bothered soul of the two, you know what I mean? Like the angry for no real reason kind of a thing. So I was a bit surprised that they went so bold with that. And, because, you know me, I've not been the biggest Daniel Bryan, cheerleader, since he's been around. So I just kind of shocked that they went that route and that they took that title off AJ Styles after bragging about how long he's had it and everything. And I really thought they were going to keep that for a little bit longer. So that was the main thing that stuck out to me. It was just kind of like whoa, unexpected.
I agree. It definitely was unexpected because it felt like even if you go back to the Brock Lesnar promo from the night before, really it's a Paul Heyman promo, but how he said, like, we only want to beat up AJ Styles. We only want to beat up AJ Styles. We only want to beat up AJ Styles. And I love a good curveball, but it felt like, well, now how do you guys feel? Because now you don't get to beat up AJ Styles, right? Like, you guys are probably not loving this outcome if we're keeping kayfabe.
Fun. Well, yeah, because it's fun too because AJ Styles was the one who was beating up John Cena, right? We're gonna beat up John Cena, and I like how he's like, we only want to beat up AJ Styles.
So
but now you can't. So what do you do?
Exactly. So that first came into my mind is like, oh man, from a storyline perspective, I bet you Brock isn't the happiest because he was really wanting to kick AJ's ass. But then this was my biggest overall first feeling when Daniel Bryan turned heel to beat AJ Styles for the championship. Mm-hmm. I understand AJ Styles was your classic baby face, hard-working guy, doing this for my family. I always wanted to be the best in the world. This title proves it. Hee-haw guy, right? And that's needed 1,000,000% in every promotion.
Right.
However, not too long ago, he went heel. So you have in his WWE storyline arc, or not arc, but storyline, him, switching to the bad side, right? Now, I know way back in the day, Daniel Bryan was a heel for about as long as a cup of coffee, but generally speaking, he's always been a babyface. So him turning heel, my first overall thought was, man, like, can we not ever have just a classic babyface win, right? So, like, some of the best baby faces in recent memory in WWE, you think Sami Zayn, you think Daniel Bryan, and both guys, it seems like, to get the cred or get the, oh, this is cool, they have to do a dickhead thing, right? And it was like, man, I get it because that's a good curveball, and Daniel Bryan, I imagine, can knock this out of the park as far as playing a heel. But I kind of wanted the just classic, like, to me, it's good to, again, Stone Cold Steve Austin changed everything, and I'll go to my grave saying that, like, it should be pre and post Stone Cold Steve Austin to what he did to the classic good guy, right? Like, that's always changed. But you could tell someone about this, like, man, he's a cool dude, he's a this, he's a this, and this, Daniel Bryan, right? You can even do that with Sami Zayn. Man, this guy's cool, he's a this, and he's this, and this. You don't have to turn everyone heel if you don't know how to tell a good guy story.
Well, there's that too, yeah. And that's kind of where I thought, like, it was still going to be the babyface thing. I didn't think it was necessarily going to be a heel. It was just going to be like, Daniel Bryan could still do the bad guy things where you would consider AJ Styles the protagonist in the story, right? But yet Daniel Bryan could still be a face, right? He's just angry that he lost earlier, that he didn't win that title, that AJ Styles gets to say those things, and he's a little more irrationally angry than he normally would be, because who knows, whatever, right? He's not getting any at home or something, right? Like, I mean, I just thought that was the story they were doing, which,
then after the bell,
there isn't a whole lot of meat to that either, the way they do it. You know what I mean? You and I could probably write that, better, but... So I was kind of intrigued that they were doing something, right? I thought this was good for the Daniel Bryan character because it is a new direction. There is now something to this storyline beyond, nothing. At least they went a direction rather than direction.
And then if you start to think about Survivor Series, it almost makes you go like, well, wait a minute, what are we doing? Because now we have a new... get the heat on him, Daniel Bryan heel, going up against the ultimate heel in WWE, Brock Lesnar.
Right.
So if you start a cheer, if you're staying true to the storyline, kayfabe, you go like, well, fuck both these guys. Like, Daniel Bryan just had to dick kick AJ Styles to beat him, so he's a pussy, and then Brock Lesnar. Fuck him. He never shows up. He doesn't even like being here. He's told us this on, in storyline. So I don't fucking want him to win either. So you know what? I hope they, double knockout. They both lose. So you kind of painted yourself in a corner there where it doesn't make any sense. And then, in the classic dream matches and in classic WWE form, you have a dream match that people have talked about for years. Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar, and it has a build of about 9 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
WWE is the worst about when something goes wrong and really like gets in the way of their plans for whatever reason, right? They just go back to the big thing that worked years ago, right? Like, they'll never go with a different thing that would make us go, wow, I didn't really, you know what I mean? Like, it's always like Brock, Roman, Cena, right? Like the moment anybody goes down that they were going off, it's like, no, we got to get him back in. Got to get him back in. I knew it. I knew this would happen, right? Like, it's weird. Yeah.
And I just think with the network, they don't necessarily, and I've said this till I'm red in the face, it's content over storylines, and they want now a WWE.com top 10 dream matches fulfilled, and they just want to say we did Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. Because if you put that on a list, right? If I were just to write out, all-time classic matchups, like Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar is going to make that. Regardless of how this match is, it's going to be the ultimate indie guy versus the ultimate classic WWE guy, right?
Right.
But because their storyline writing is so shit, they don't know how to tell that story, so all they can do is just say, but we did it. Hey, guys, don't you love it? We did it. And so you could search in 2 weeks or, an hour after it happens, Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. And guess what, guys? That match will be there for you to watch it on demand anytime.
Because we did it.
Yeah, and it's like...
You asked for it, we did it.
Because if you start thinking about Brock Lesnar's career, it's kind of cool to say, well, Brock Lesnar took on Samoa Joe, right? But then you watch that match and go, that fucking match was subpar. It's kind of cool to say Brock Lesnar took on Braun Strowman. You look at those matches, they are fucking subpar. And we're just doing... John Cena versus Nakamura is a match that happened with 4 minutes of prep and like storyline to it. It felt like, and it was a subpar match, right? But I can search the network and it says John Cena versus Nakamura. Ooh, I don't remember that because there's been 900 matches since then. I guess I'll check it out. It's cool. It's on demand anytime I want. And that's what we're just fucking doing with all these stories. There's no more stories. It's just, isn't this cool to put in your search bar and it actually happened? No, it's not. I want a story. That's why Becky Lynch is killing it, because if you follow her on Twitter, she's murdering NXAJAX on Twitter. She's murdering Ronda Rousey on Twitter. And also, Ronda Rousey murdering Becky Lynch with her fire Instagram posts and stuff. So that's what makes it awesome, right? Like, that is making it what I want to see. I just don't want to see it because it's this name and fantasy book it, right? No, book it. Don't just say it. Do something.
Book it. All right, we'll book it. We'll take a break and let T-Mac breathe a little bit. Let him calm down. Maybe write an angry letter attached to his application.
I'm engaged.
And write an angry letter and attach to your application. All right, we will take a break, and we'll come back. We're going to talk about some NXT, some War Games. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. Yeah? War Games.
Yeah.
When we come back.
Where storylines are really developed.
Right. When we come back to the Spanish announce table.
Fun fact, The Undertaker never walked into WrestleMania as a world champion.
The Spanish announce table.
Let's
Tom,
do this.
Are you ready to do this? Tom, we have one of wrestling fans' favorites every quarter now, I believe. It's NXT Takeover time.
Oh, yeah.
And this time, it's War Games. And they seem to, the first time they seem to give great, like they did the banner name of War Games well, right? So, and I feel like with the match they've got for this War Games, it's going to do the same, right? Like from the old WCW War Games to this, like this still feels what it was intended for, right? We've got 2 teams, or 3, whatever the case may be, right? And we're just going to all slug this out, and it feels fun, right? And it's intense in battles. And at B_double_D on Twitter says, it's only Tuesday, and I already know NXT War Games will win the weekend. # tweet the table.
Okay, yes. And then also a little bit of the reason why, and we'll get into the card. There's 4 matches. So how much fun can you have if you say we have 2 hours and 4 matches,
Right.
right? You know, I mean, generally speaking, with the level of talent that WWE has from, first day guys that just signed like Punishment Martinez and Matt Riddle to the veteran guys like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, everything in between. If I say I'm going to put together 4 matches on a WWE scale with that production value and the writers aren't overworked and can, invest some time, what's going to be better? The 4 matches on a 2-hour show or the 36 matches that we're going to get in Survivor Series with, 800 wrestlers trying to put in 5 moves each, so of course it's going to be better. Always will be.
It will be. Well, and let's jump into it on the first one we got here. Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black, which how fun is this storyline to begin with? We don't talk NXT a whole lot on the shows typically, but Johnny did nothing wrong. This is fun. I like this.
Yeah, and as I talked about in the last segment, one thing that kind of makes me sad is, again, I said Sami Zayn, I mentioned Daniel Bryan, but another one of those classic baby faces where everyone was, popping huge for the guy when he would walk through the curtain was Johnny Gargano. And it was fun to say, like, Johnny Wrestling, baby, this is our guy. This is our man. NXT, the heart and soul of this company is that guy right there. And you know what? He's a good dude. And that was fun to say to a certain extent, right? Like, he wasn't corny. It was just a genuinely good guy.
Right.
Now he's a heel. So it makes me a little sad. It was like, well, man, can we not just have anything fun and pure and good? Like, does everyone have to be heel at least once, it feels like? Right. Maybe they do.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Yeah, it just feels like, damn it. I really wish he could have went the whole, at least NXT career like Sami Zayn with no heel turn. However, saying that, yes, this storyline is so much fun. It is hitting on all cylinders, right? The explosion into the arena from Aleister Black, putting William Regal into the corner, demanding to know where he's at, and Johnny Gargano coming out of I don't know where, because I never saw him in the ring, in Velveteen Dream, and Lars Sullivan was going at it, verbally. He just appears, super kicks him, and then just says, "You're a bitch." Now I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say that, but yeah, it's been great, and I like the contrast just visually, right? This tattooed, devil walking, spitfire asshole who's the babyface versus the clean cut, babyface, bring him home to meet grandma and the mom, who's the heel, Johnny Gargano. Like, I love it. It just visually, it's appealing. The storyline, like I said, has been very fun, and they're both, world champion quality wrestlers, so it's going to be a good match in the ring. And like I said, there's only 4 of these matches, so they're gonna tear it down.
Right.
And in this feud type match, we know Johnny Gargano at least can do those feud type matches, as evident with the Tommaso Ciampa matches. So yeah, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we touched on this, and you kind of hit on it, even in kind of what you're saying there, is just that NXT hits these home runs on this all the time just because there's so much more attention to the storyline, right? Like, it's so much more just, it's about what's drawing you in, the reason that they're here, what's got everybody so mad, right? Like, that's, I don't know.
Exactly. I know from the last, I believe it was the last takeover, one of the major spots was Ricochet doing that backflip and Adam Cole just perfectly timing a super kick to the face. And that made every GIF, in all the rounds and went viral on Twitter and yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk NXT, you talk about, the rivalry between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the rivalry between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the emergence of a, new original star like Bayley or like Velveteen Dream. Like, you don't talk about, well, did you see the 690 double splash? You're talking about characters and stories and feuds. And at the core of what makes great wrestling are those things, and not these, he did the banana split 960. Guys, did you see it? It's like, okay, but at this level in 2018, you can get that in almost any realm of athleticism because athletes are like at an all-time high as far as like the evolutionary peak. So I can go see that somewhere else. I need something to sink my teeth into, and that's why NXT's always been the best show, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that. All right, well, let's move on to.
Well, did we make a pick? Who do you got?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do some picks here, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Gargano. I think I'm wrong.
So I think maybe that makes sense, right? Because you can't do this huge heel turn and then, well, he just lost. And guess what? The last time we saw him on a takeover, he lost then too. Because now we're just, now we're just picking on the loser, and that's not necessarily the funnest thing to do, right? So you kind of think, well, maybe he needs a win.
Right.
But then the other side of my brain says, well, Aleister Black came off of injury. The title was essentially taken away from him, because of that. He, storyline-wise, deserves that rematch, that one-on-one rematch. Mm-hmm. And so you think he's still at that caliber, so he could easily beat Johnny Gargano because, he's the uncrowned champ. So Aleister Black should win.
Right? Yeah, so I get that, yeah.
Yeah, you're tossing that back and forth, at least for me. And I think what I will go with is I think Aleister Black will get this victory, and because Johnny Gargano can still sink his teeth into why he's a heel now, it's more than just getting at Aleister Black. It's getting at the NXT universe or whatever we're calling them. And then, we can explore that heel storyline a little bit more. But after this main event storyline, or excuse me, this NXT Championship storyline, there needs to be the next person in line, and that kind of foreshadows my pick in the NXT Championship match. But I think Aleister Black needs to be that next person in line.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is kind of where I came to. As soon as I said it, I was like, I'm wrong about this. Let's move on.
It could be, right? Because like the new heel needs the new heat, right?
So, and that's where that's why I went that way, right? But then I just kind of wasn't accounting for, man, it is Aleister Black. He did just come back. He is kind of one of their biggest things they do right now. So, yeah, I mean, if I were gonna take it back, if we were scoring points and stuff like we used to, I'd probably be like, oh, I'm trying to take that back. But I don't, this is for fun. I'm gonna stick with the Gargano pick just to be fun. But I think you may have an edge.
Or it could be a non-finish, right? Because in my opinion, neither guy
the way they go.
Yeah, and neither guy is going to the main roster tomorrow, I think, right?
Correct,
they're mainstays on the NXT roster, so I don't think they're necessarily getting called up. So, yeah, it could be a non-finish as well. But I'm going Aleister Black. I like to pick the finishes.
All right. Well, we've got another match that you're going to love. I mean, I think you've been dying to see the culmination of this feud. And it's the NXT Women's Championship 2 out of 3 falls match. Shayna Baszler against a pirate.
Well, I'm never picking a fucking pirate, so that's my pick.
Not even. What about in one fall? Not one fall? Oh, she's getting a fall.
Nope.
Oh, she is absolutely getting a fall.
I don't care.
Baszler wins 2-1.
I hope it's 2-0, and I hope Jessamine Duke and Marina fucking get involved in both pinfalls.
If they find if they find a way to get them, if both of them, if each one helps score the 2, that could be an easy way to do 2-0, get some good heat. Kyrie doesn't look bad, right? You can move on.
How fun would that be? Think of this. This is what I would do. I would do that because this is how I'd book it real quick, and then we'll get into the next 2 matches.
Right. Okay, I like
I would do this. I would say Shayna Baszler, the fucking pirate, are going back and forth. Jessamine Duke hops the rail, distracts the pirate. The pirate is like, "What are you doing?" Shayna Baszler gets a schoolboy or schoolgirl, whatever we're calling it, pin, right? 1, 2, 3. Right. Referee's pissed. Jessamine Duke get out of here. Crowd pops. Yeah, you're out of here. You suck. Meanwhile, as she's walking back and everyone's looking at Jessamine Duke being escorted out, Marina comes in, hits the pirate in the back of the head with the title, rolls him out, and then Shayna Baszler puts her finisher on the pirate and then gets a second pinfall. Then Shayna comes out of the ring. Ha! There's the two of them. We're fucking awesome. Ronda Rousey might appear. Who knows? But then there you go. Both of them cost the pirate a match. And then you can do a 2-on-1, Jessamine Duke and Marina versus the pirate on an NXT episode and make the pirate look good, putting both of them on top of each other and give them that big elbow. That kills both of them, air quotes kills both of them. Pinfall. She beats two girls, and now she still looks strong.
Right.
That's how you do it.
I like
Fuck
that.
the pirate.
Fuck the pirate. This is a weird, I'm not, I get you. I don't understand why we have a pirate.
In a Disney pirate. Not even like a cool Captain Phillips pirate, but like the Disney pirate. That's what I don't know.
It's a pirate.
I would get on board maybe with the look at my eyes. I am the captain now. The Somalian crazy pirates.
Right. Like a modern day pirate.
Yeah, but there's I got a treasure chest. It's filled with
yo ho ho mateys. We're really doing this. We're
so
really
stupid.
doing this.
So stupid. And on the other end, Shayna Baszler, another one who maybe was doing it before Becky Lynch, but maybe not getting the cheers that she necessarily deserves because her heel antics are so good. But Shayna Baszler's killing it too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's amazing. I think she's one of the best heels in the company, in the entire WWE umbrella. She's
awesome.
Yeah, as much as I like her and watch her, you don't want to. You're like, oh yeah, I would not like this person. If I had to live around this person, be like, oh no, I don't like her.
Yep.
Nope.
Don't like this at all.
Don't like her at all. But yeah, I like that. I'm gonna call that. Now we're going 2-0. I'm gonna steal your idea. 2-0. The other ladies, the help. Right? Yeah, I like that. All right.
Yep.
And then we got the NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa, the greatest sports entertainer in the world. What does he call himself? Of all time, the greatest sports entertainer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Versus Velveteen Dream, which Ciampa's winning this. They're not going off of that for a while, I don't think. But
yeah, I think this is going to be another event where Velveteen Dream has a cooler costume. Well, I was going to say has a cooler costume than match, like he did with EC3 with remember the tights that said "Call me Vince," and he came out with the Brooklyn stuff, Call me up. Yeah, call me up, Vince. And then he had the cool Brooklyn, because they were in Brooklyn thing going on. I think we're going to get another, goddamn, he hit another home run with that fucking outfit. And the match will be good because Velveteen Dream can wrestle, and Tommaso Ciampa, like you said, is awesome. Yep. And so, it's not going to suck, I don't think, at all. And they'll have the time to make it good. But, yeah, Tommaso Ciampa, he ain't losing this. You know what would be crazy? Was because if you followed Tommaso Ciampa on Twitter, he keeps on saying how proud he is of Johnny Gargano turning heel and doing all the shit to Aleister Black, Right. How insane would it be if this is the order of the card, Johnny Gargano comes out to help Tommaso Ciampa retain the title by screwing over Velveteen Dream, and then Velveteen Dream can go into a new storyline with, fill in the blank, maybe Undisputed Era. But then you have a Tommaso Ciampa with Johnny Gargano on his side taking on Aleister Black. Nah? That'd be quite a cool
idea. That's not a terrible idea. I like that. Get you with some ideas. The idea man. All right, Tom.
I like the ideas.
All right. This is it. This is what we came here for.
Oh, yeah.
It's War Games.
It is.
Can you feel the energy in the room, listeners? Right here, we're just bubbling with energy. Yeah, we're burdened. We've long days of work here. This is a free podcast, meaning we don't get paid, so we got to go have day jobs. And sometimes
I'm
day
exhausted.
jobs are not fun.
If you don't, and if you don't remember, I'm exhausted. I just proposed. You know how exhausting that was? I need a day off.
Yeah. Gauge.
I
had a long day of looking like I was busy at work. Right? You
I
know how
tell you
hard
what.
that is to accomplish? To
Yeah.
look like you're busy at work.
And always
It's
have
harder
that
than
anxiety like you're
being
going to get
busy
caught.
at work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you have the anxiety of being caught.
Yeah.
And, so
It's exhausting, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? We're here for you. As we mentioned, this is a free podcast. But if you would like to donate $1, please go to tableshow@gmail.com. With that being said, let's get back into the War Games match, the second ever NXT War Games match. This time, 2 teams, not the 3 as it was the first time around. It is the Undisputed Era versus War Raiders, Ricochet and Pete Dunne. Tim, who do you got?
Pete, get you done. You know what? Undisputed Era was in the last one, but were they the ones that won it? They didn't win it, right?
Yes.
They did win it.
Yes.
Ooh. So I don't know why I asked that question, because now I just instantly, upon your answer, talked myself into both ways, right? Like I was like, well, they're not going to give it to him twice. Then I was like, to give it to him twice would give them a hell of a talking point for the rest of their career. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Undisputed Era on this, because this other team doesn't get any lift from this. You know what I mean? I don't think they're breaking up Undisputed Era anytime soon, so there can't be a fallout from that. I think Undisputed Era gets this, barely, and to scratch and crawl and, find a way to cheat if there's a way amongst the, you know what I mean? Like, not that there's. Now they have an advantage too, so they'll take out somebody early, maybe in a brutal way, right? And then that guy will come back at the very end to look like he's going to steal it at the end, and then they'll take him out right at the last moment and win.
Yep, I completely agree. Yep, you did, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think I've never been a fan when it's one unit, one team, one faction versus just a hodgepodge of other people. And this is what that is, right? War Raiders, Ricochet, Pete Dunne. I mean, if you were to line them up and say, hey, what do they have in common? If you don't know they're pro wrestlers, you'd say nothing.
Yeah,
none of them have anything in common.
People, right, yeah.
Yeah. None of these people like each other. I bet you they don't even know each other's name. Like, that's what you would probably say. And so, as you mentioned, they're not going to break up Undisputed Era. At least I don't think. NXT can shock anyone, but I don't think they're going to break up Undisputed Era. I think, like you said, they love to look at the trophies, look at the tag titles, look at the first North American champion. They love to pat themselves on the back and to say
winners of the War Games.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could easily, let's just hypothetically say they're still together and still in NXT next year for the next War Games. There is then that faction with DIY or whatever it is, whoever that faction is. And then the Undisputed Era can just look at the match and go, you think we're afraid of this? There's only been 2 of them and we won both of them.
Yeah,
right? Like they can keep going with that. Right. And so for those reasons, I think it's going to be the Undisputed Era. But
yeah, they can be like, we're the undisputed champions of the War Games. Like we're
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But all of these guys are going to kill it. I think this is going to be
it's going to be great.
You judge a one-on-one match in comparison to a multi-man match differently, but I think we're going to, on Wednesday, this time next week, talk about the match of the weekend was War Raiders, Ricochet, and Pete Dunne versus the Undisputed Era. I think it's going to be the match of the weekend.
I think you may be right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. God, that War Games match feels like it's going to be brutal with the War Raiders in there, tossing all these other guys around because everybody else is pretty small compared to them,
Yeah.
And they're just going to demolish people. And then all the other guys have all worked together around the world. And just, I mean, this is going to be great.
And the War Raiders, peeking behind the curtain, War Raiders can call up AOP and said, hey, you were in this last year. We're comparable in size. What'd you do? And how'd you save yourself? And how'd you make everything look good? And they can share notes or whatever.
True that.
So there's at least people that have been comparable in size to War Raiders that have done this before, where they can say like, oh, we can look at you and maybe go off of
Well,
how
the
our
Undisputed Era did it
spots
with
will
them,
be.
so they can
Right,
even
that's what I'm
kind of
saying,
give
yeah.
them right. They can say, "Hey, look, we
Exactly.
did this and that didn't work, man. Trust me,
Right,
that
yeah.
bastard fell on
Don't
me,
do
and
this.
I was shitting water for a week."
Right,
All right,
exactly.
I think that was verbatim. I think they said that in a podcast interview or something like that.
Yeah, I think
We should probably take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the big old series of the Survivors when we return. Right? Unless you got anything else? No?
nope.
All right, when we return to the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, no one has ever kicked out of Victoria's Widow's Peak in WWE.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Tom,
Yes,
Survivor
Tim.
Series is what? Is it the second longest running?
I believe so. I think that is factual, but we don't fact check, so could
fuck that.
be a lie.
No, you can check these facts. Check these fat facts.
Come on with it. All right, so what do we got? Let's get right into it because
Just
this
want to
has
get right
been
into it. You don't want to go like, what does Survivor Series mean to you, Tom? You don't want to like, you don't want to get.
this. I'll quickly say what it means to me. To me,
Right.
it is a fun Big Four show, so I feel like the expectations are a little bit greater than say Fastlane.
WWE Fastlane.
Right. So
Fastlane.
I have more anticipation and I hope for better and bigger things. That being said, with the new, what I feel like is model of content over storyline, as I mentioned before, it kind of makes me just go like, well, I just hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
I will
That's
say this.
exactly how
this.
I feel about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this, though. One thing as a guy, and for any listener, you probably feel the same way, who has been watching it for as long as we have, you typically can see things, right? A to B to C, right? One thing that I've always enjoyed with Survivor Series in the modern era, and I'm talking like 2000s on, is typically you get a mixture of baby faces and heels versus baby faces and heels. And with those possibilities, you could have a baby face and a heel team up to beat up a baby face, or you could have a heel turn on his own team and that cost him the match. Or, the possibilities are greater for more fun things to happen. So that's always been one caveat that I've enjoyed about the Survivor Series is when they do, like we'll get into with the lineups of the matchups, is, well, I don't know, Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor, that's a babyface and a heel. Maybe they turn on each other. Maybe, and so that has always been something fun for me to at least anticipate for Survivor Series as a standalone match.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, event.
I like that. Nice breakdown on the spot like that. When I
Come on with it.
Unsolicited, you were just like, you know what? Well, I mean, I solicited it, but unprepared, you were just like, hey, man.
I got takes. I got hot takes on wrestling all day, every day. I'm like
them
lunch.
takes.
I'm always ready.
I'm T-Mac the Take Man. You ain't never heard of me?
Huh? Come on with it. Stephen A. Smith ain't got shit on this white boy. What? Come on. Huh? Is the
What
A
you think the
necessary?
T stands for in T-Mac? It's Take Mac.
Quick question. Is the A necessary in Stephen A. Smith? I think it is. Right? You couldn't just say, hey, Steve Smith has a hot take. You're like,
Stephen
who?
Smith.
Like Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith sounds much more distinct.
And brand. Like you can get a brand out of that, right?
Right.
Stephen Smith. Who is that? There's 900 Stephen Smiths. Stephen A. Smith. Like what?
Yeah,
Oh, that
I couldn't
like
do. I don't think that would work with. Yeah, mine doesn't. My middle.
You know who has
R.
another initial that is always needed? John C. Riley.
John C.
Right?
Riley.
If you just said
John Riley.
John Riley's in a new movie. Well, who the hell is that guy? That sounds like the sacker at the local grocery store. John C. Riley. That guy sounds fucking hilarious.
Right. John Riley sounds like the assistant shift manager at
Kroger.
At what's like a car mechanic, like the Goodyear, right?
Uh-huh.
Right. At the Jiffy Lube. Right? John Riley.
The Ace Hardware.
Right. My apologies to any Spanish Announce Table fans named John Riley. We love you. We hope you
Or
still
Steven Smith.
we hope you still listen to the show. We tell all of your other boring named friends. We really appreciate your listenership. And by the way, check out our website, SpanishAnnounceTable.net. Go to our merch table link and buy some stuff and show all of your other boring friends how cool you are. You know, even though your name may not indicate as such. Back to
all right, first match of the night. Let's get right into it. It's Buddy Murphy taking on Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Champion.
It is?
Chip.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
Just looking
That's
at
not
the
what I'm looking at.
Oh, well, then let's go off of yours.
Well, no, what do you got? Because I don't have that. I want that.
Right? Isn't that what I got? Hold on. Survivor Series 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this isn't right. There you go.
What are you looking on?
E-Wrestling News. Wait a minute. But then there's the Rollins versus Nakamura. What the hell is this? This is dumb.
Rollins versus Nakamura? What?
Oh, no. I'm right. I'm totally right. Why did I second guess myself? Because then the second match it shows Authors of Pain versus The Bar. So, yeah, this is right.
Yeah, I think maybe – I wonder if that was announced tonight or something, and this is not on the WWE website yet, right?
Okay,
and maybe
so yeah.
E-Wrestling News has updated it. So, yeah, let's go off yours.
Right.
You read
Okay, so we got Buddy Murphy, champion, versus Mustafa Ali, Cruiserweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Or, excuse me, Buddy Murphy, the champion, taking on Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Championship.
I say this with full 100% backed just knowledge of the product. And I'm going to say Buddy Murphy wins this because just, you know, how could you not know when you watch all of this like I do?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Concur.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Buddy Murphy because it seems like they gave him that special moment in Australia, which he's Australian. I don't think they feel like they just want to go like, well, that was fun, and next. I think they want to invest a little bit more time in him. And I think all the stuff that he did in NXT, he's a guy that they like. And so I'm going behind the curtain with my analysis. And so I'm going Buddy Murphy.
Mustafa Ali feels 100% like he could be anybody else in this match.
Definitely.
Right?
100% agree. All right, next match we got for you. The Raw Tag Team Champions taking on the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Mm-hmm.
The Authors of Pain. Taking on The Bar.
The Bar, huh?
What do you got? Who you got?
I'm going to go with AOP. I think they're going to – The Bar and Big Show hanging around. Like, that's a bunch of dudes that can handle a loss, right? And I feel like with the win of the tag titles, the AOP, they at least are not wanting – they're not in the Bray Wyatt mode right now, right? Like, they're definitely going to push that. So I just feel like or that's the more momentum, right? So I definitely am going to go with that. I just don't feel like there's any benefit in the storyline to the Big Bar. To the Big Bar winning this thing, right? God damn, love me that Big Bar. Those guys, big and tough. Big and tough, the Big Bar. Foreign guys, and then the Big Show.
I also think that maybe the Big Show can think that he's grabbing one of the AOP's legs, ends up grabbing Sheamus's leg. Big Show, what the hell were you doing? So there's some dissension. So the Bar doesn't look weak. Big Show kind of looks goofy. Who the fuck cares? Because, you know, as the weather changes, so does Big Show as a heel or babyface. And then on a bigger scale, I think the Raw versus SmackDown kind of storyline that they're going to tell. I think this gives Raw an easy win, and then we can go on from there. So I got Authors of Pain as well.
Yeah, I got that. Hey, before you move on, what the WWE does have here is a kickoff match. You want to talk about that? I don't know if you've got that on your...
Go ahead. Yeah, what do we got?
We've got a 10-on-10 tag team traditional Survivor Series elimination match. We've got... Let's read this here. Who's in this? Oh... This is a great lineup here. You ready for this one? All right. We've got on one side. I'm trying to make sure I divide this right. So we've got. I want to see like the breakdown of which teams are on which. All right, so you got Gable and Rude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got the Ascension.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got 10 on 10, right? So then I don't even know how to read this. What? Here we go. All right, here we go. No, I'm not breaking this down. Do you have this? You don't have this listed.
No, I actually don't. But here you go. You got the Raw tag teams versus the SmackDown tag teams. I think the Raw tag teams don't have enough depth, even though you have the clones that just appeared out of nowhere on TV, which they haven't been on TV for like 45 years, it feels like. I think with Sanity being still something that they want to invest time in, the Usos, the New Day, or excuse me, the Usos.
So there it is. It's
and all the other guys.
Usos, Sanity, Colognes, Gallows, and Anderson with Usos as the tag champs, right? And then they've got Rude and Gable, and they've got Lucha Party, Lucha House Party, whatever they call that, Ascension, Revival, and B Team. Yeah, it's definitely going SmackDown, right? Like the Raw tag team division sucks. Jeez, look at that.
Yeah, that's all bad.
Did you hear what I just read?
Yeah.
Read that.
Not good.
Gosh.
So yeah, I got SmackDown. I think Usos will get the victory. That's just an extra caveat, but that's what I think.
Gosh, I'm kind of sorry I even brought all this up.
All right, next match. Let's just go to the next one.
Yeah. Well, you're reading it now, aren't you? You going off it? What do you got?
No, you go, because there's some matches actually missing on here. Like they don't show Ronda versus Charlotte for some reason.
Right, so we covered that kickoff match. You had Murphy and Mustafa Ali, which I did see on here now. The AOP and the Big Bar.
The Big
Bar. Now we got a men's 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination match. We have on one side Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Finn Balor taking on Shane O'Mac, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, and Samoa Joe, who looks like he might rape everybody in the match. What do you got?
Well, I mean, so here's an easy analysis of this match.
Mm-hmm.
One team is 5 of the best wrestlers in the world. The other team has 4 of the best wrestlers in the world, and then the best wrestler in the world as won by his World Cup victory at Crown Jewel, Shane O'Mac. So I'm going with the best wrestler in the world and his team. I'm going SmackDown.
Oh, I'm going SmackDown just because they're going to make this a thing, right? Like, he's the best in the world.
His team won over Raw.
His sister's mad about it.
Yep.
This team all doesn't like each other already on Raw.
I think we're going to get the heel turn from Shane, right? So it was, hey, that kind of was a shitty move you did there to win the World Cup, best in the world. We'll let it slide, right? Like, I'm just generally speaking here. But now, let's say, because they love dick kicks apparently, maybe you dick kick Finn Balor and then get the victory over him. Well, that's 2 in a row, so now we don't fucking like you. And then that's the full heel turn. Shane, ego-driven, like you said. I'm the best in the world. I'm beating my sister in the ratings, and I'm beating my sister in matches that she's trying to put up against me. I'm the greatest thing to ever happen. I'm the best McMahon of all time. And then Vince comes out and humps him,
Beat my sister over here. My sister sucks. You know what? Fuck my sister. Wait a minute. That's not what I meant. Can I get another take? Can we get another take? No, we're live, brother.
We're live, pal.
All right. Let's move on from that. Yeah, definitely SmackDown is winning that. Weird. All right, women's 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination match just for the ladies. We got Natalya, Nia Jax, swinging them bowls, and then who else we got over there? Oh yeah, we got Mickey James. And then, let's see, what's the other side? What do we got?
Carmella.
Asuka. Yep.
Naomi.
Asuka, Naomi. Ooh,
Sonya Deville. And then I don't know if there is did they fill in the last spot?
They didn't fill in the last spot. Wait, Ruby
Well,
Riot's
then
on the Raw side too, right? Yeah, I forgot to mention her in there. Yeah, it looks like there's an open slot here yet still for.
So I think they're gonna go.
Who?
My
Why
gut
did they not fill that yet?
Well, because they'll try to make it a big pop, but I don't think it's gonna work. Because I think if I were to guess what WWE would do, I'm guessing they go Lana. Lana is the best. Lana's number one. Right? And
So you don't think they pull somebody out like a Trish Stratus or a
they
Lita?
should, but I think because Lana was a part of the jumping of the Raw women, and also what else is she doing? And let's be honest, this match is forgotten about in 4 months.
Yeah,
It's a Lana is best. Lana number one. Crowd chants. That's fun. I'm going with Smackdown.
Yeah, because I guess I don't know. Like, nobody on the Raw side has like an arch nemesis that could be hanging in the wings, right? So,
right.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I'm going Raw on this. I'm going Raw on this because I think the Riot Squad actually comes through and helps Ruby Riot. Right? So Ruby Riot's the last survivor for Raw.
Right.
And Riot Squad distracts, let's just say, Asuka. And then Ruby Riot pins Asuka, giving the Riot Squad one victory out of the 200 matches they've done.
Yeah. Well, I also think, too, they want to keep the SNUKAJAX thing looking strong. SNUKAJAX. Little SNUKAJAX right there.
Sounds like a breakfast cereal.
SNUKAJAX. That's I think maybe that's the name. I've come a couple name ideas for this show. I hope this doesn't suck was one that I caught that I liked. SNUKAJAX. Let's see. We'll decide later.
I like SNUKAJAX.
SNUKAJAX. Then we've got the Intercontinental Championship match: Seth Rollins versus the champion of the United States of Knock America and the president of the United States of Knock America, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well, it's not for the Intercontinental Championship. It's the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, right. No, it is the Intercontinental Champion versus the United States. Sorry, did I say Intercontinental Championship? Right.
But there's no title on the line.
Right. There is no title on the line. This is like a bragging rights, but it's champion versus champion.
Who you got?
Myself there. I've got Rollins. I think they're still heavy into the Ambrose. Maybe, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna change my mind. I think somehow Ambrose gets involved. Yep. Right.
There it is.
And then Nakamura punches somebody in the balls. What?
Yep. I said, you workshopping it live. I like it. I'm going to go Rollins. Actually, as I keep talking, I'm going Knock America.
Yeah. Like, you know what? This is happening, but now that I actually said it out loud and I realize that I'm a bit of an asshole, I gotta dial that back. All right, yeah, no, definitely Ambrose distracts, otherwise gets involved. Nakamura gets the Kansas City cunt punt in, roll up, hey, right, and then right,
yeah. So, yeah, I got Knock America for the victory. All pledge allegiance to the Knock Americans.
Proud to be a Knock American. Where you know what I mean? Like they could come on. I want fun.
Yeah, nope, we don't want fun. Can't have that. Boo fun.
Boo fun. No fun. Boo.
All right, next
frozen
match
on the video feed. If anybody's watching that, nobody's watching. There's no live video feed. The next match we've got what was supposed to be a champion versus champion is now the Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey taking on the handpicked selected handpicked. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Charlotte Flair.
I'm going non-finish.
Non-finish.
I think they still want to make Charlotte look like no. Scratch that. I'm workshopping it now. I've got
not
Ronda
allowed.
Rousey.
Nope, I'm stuck. Nope, not allowed. First answer, taking it.
I'm going Ronda Rousey. This is why. Before Becky got hurt and Charlotte filled in, Charlotte was doing this whole, am I good enough?
Right. Maybe
am I
suck.
capable? Right. And so now we're going to go, Becky says, you know what, Charlotte, I believe in you. Here's my spot because I got a concussion. But then Charlotte loses.
Yeah.
And then we can go right back into that storyline. You could even have on Tuesday Night SmackDown, assuming Becky Lynch is cleared to travel and stuff, go, I gave you my spot so you could beat her, and you couldn't even do that.
I thought
and
you were
then
better
we go
than
into
Carmella, but you're not.
Right.
She's beat you twice. All right.
Yeah,
Right?
and then
Right?
That's where we can go back into the storyline of, is Charlotte capable of winning the big one? La 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 la.
Right.
So then Ronda looks
Seamless.
strong, yada yada yada. Yep. So yeah, Ronda, 100%.
Yep. I agree. Ronda Rousey. And yeah, Ronda still gets to be the beast. And speaking of, we've got Universal Champion Brock Lesnar taking on WWE Champion Daniel Bryan. This is a curveball, but Brock Lesnar's winning this.
Yeah. The only way, again, I keep booking, on the fly, a lot of run-ins, the Riot Squad, all these
trying to think of the way
Rollins
it's possible
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
But Brock Lesnar's not losing, but Daniel Bryan's not, I don't think. I mean, hell, I've been so wrong lately on Brock Lesnar matches, but I don't think that they're just going to say F5, F5,
you think AJ Styles gets involved?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe AJ Styles runs in and was like, you cost me my title, I'm costing you your dream match, something like that. But it could easily be 4 German suplexes, 2 F5s. He kicks out of one of them, doesn't kick out of the second one, and that's your match. Because Brock Lesnar is not going to get hurt because his biggest payday is coming up against Daniel Cormier. And so he is not going to even jeopardize that.
It's going to be a squash because, there's no way. And there's no. If Daniel Bryan.
Even do the match. If they could not do the match.
True. They could find a way out of it. Daniel Bryan. If he wins that match, you have to continue that storyline somehow. Brock Lesnar doesn't just go, oh, that sucks. Right? But you're not going to continue the storyline. Like, this is the one night where they interact, right? Like, that's not going to be a thing. So. Yeah, he's got to win, and it's got to be somewhat short order. And then that's going to be part of the deal. When he comes back, AJ Styles is going to be like, yeah, you might have beat me, but then, like, geez, you couldn't even last 2 seconds with Brock Lesnar. I at least lasted, right? And then he's like, you know what? I'll beat you again tonight. I'll put it on the line. You know what I mean? Like, there you go.
Exactly.
Yep. Brock Lesnar squash match.
Or, I mean, I still think maybe they don't even do the match, right? You have Brock Lesnar come out to the ring, jump around, they have a camera run backstage. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles are fist fighting. They have to be pulled apart. Shane's like, I don't trust that either one of you guys could fight, Brock Lesnar tonight. As Brock Lesnar stands in the ring, Braun Strowman grabs him, right? Comes from the crowd or underneath the ring, fill in the blank, and grabs him, does his 2 body slams. Brock Lesnar sitting there staring at the stars. Braun Strowman does his, and that's the end of the show. Yeah. That could easily happen.
That could easily happen. I like it. All right, before we get out, let me hit a couple tweet the tables on our way out. Hashtag tweet the table. At Katie First Lady says, Survivor Series sure changed in a matter of 24 hours. Really disappointed about Becky. Hope the match happens down the line. Now we have Brock versus Bryan and Ronda versus Charlotte. Still a pretty decent show coming up this Sunday. Hashtag tweet the table. They really had to do some quick, oh crap, what do we do here moments for this one.
Yeah, and credit to them for, getting all participants to agree to at least build towards these matches, right? Like they're being billed as this guy versus this guy or that girl versus that girl. So credit to that at least.
Yeah, I like that. And we hit on this one kind of a little bit, but not. We can dig into it a little bit more. This is a little bit of a callback here. At Theo75 says, Alexa Bliss keeps raising the temp at every Raw. What can't she do in or out of the ring? Hashtag tweet the table.
Well, apparently wrestle right now.
Yeah, she can't wrestle. How about that? There you go, Theo. That's it. We provide a service here. You got questions, we got answers right here on the Spanish Announce Table. And with that, I think we'll leave you, right? Because you got War Games coming up. You got you've got Survivor Series. And then you're going to need to rest, because you're going to have a Spanish Announce Table next week to listen to, yeah?
Yeah, you got War Games, you've got Survivor Series, you've got Raw, you've got Smackdown, then you've got the Spanish Announce Table. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a jam-packed pro wrestling weekend going into your work week. And we are glad that you are joining us on this journey.
Yep. All right. And we will be back next week for this was 235, I think. So episode 236 next week of the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, in his career, Bobby Heenan managed 5 of the Horsemen, Flair, Luger, Arn, Blanchard, and Hennig, and 3 members of the NWO, Luger, Hennig, Rude.
The Spanish Announce Table.